16 years ago, I had an induction and I cried the entire day before it. Don't be me. Today, I want to share what you can do to be prepared in case an induction is on your horizon. And I am here to tell a lot of you that induction might be on your horizon, even though you think it will not be. And before we get started, I want to make sure that when you're learning about induction, you're learning from an expert. Now, I've already told you that I was induced as a mom of 3. I had 2 natural labors and then I was induced on my 3rd, but I've also helped with thousands of other inductions. So make sure that you're learning from somebody who really understands inductions rather than someone who just wants to fearmonger about inductions because it increases the views. I'm not here to do that today. Okay, here's what we're going to learn about from my induction. First off, yes, I cried an entire day before my induction. I ended up being 12 days overdue. I had a variety of risk factors. My doctor finally sat down next to me and I made the choice, did not get forced, to be induced. I had bought into the myth, and I don't know how I did this as a labor and delivery nurse. By the time I had my last baby, I had been a labor and delivery nurse for 8 years, but I really thought that if I ended up being induced, that it would be miserable and that I would end up having a C-section. And I'm here to tell you in the ending, I did not have a C-section and it really was not that miserable except for some mistakes that I made. One thing that I had really hoped that I would have taken into account is my individual circumstances. I was overdue. My cervix was already at 5 centimeters and very thin. I was like a ticking time bomb for labor, and every night I would have false labor that just wouldn't go into regular labor. And then finally, when they gave me just a whiff of Pitocin, I really went into labor just fine. I'm here to tell you that that day of tears was such a waste of time and stress. I wish I had just had a nice day of enjoying myself before the baby was born rather than crying for the whole day, because that didn't help anybody. Really quick, are you nervous about an induction? Tell us down in the comments, because even the labor nurse of 8 years obviously was very nervous about hers. Now, I am here to tell you that my induction was extremely boring. When you go in to be induced, you are stuck on monitors, you are stuck in the hospital, and I'm here to tell you that I absolutely hate being in the hospital. Yes, even as a nurse, possibly even more because I am a nurse, but an induction can be really boring and long. I actually have an induction checklist to make sure that your induction plans in your mind are really reality. Make sure that you're discussing those with your provider before you go in. But I am also here to tell you that I actually delayed my induction speeding up by choices that I made. I would not let them break my water because I knew if my water was broken that I would have to have a C-section if baby wouldn't descend normally. I wish I would have just let them break my water. I wish I had just listened to the experts instead of thinking I was the expert. This is a life lesson for Hillary overall. But I am here to tell you that I made it even extra boring and long because of the choices that I made based on fear. Now, this video is not going to dive into ways that you are induced. I actually have a whole little mini class about inductions called Inductions Made Easy. I'm going to put the link down below. If you want more information on how people get induced, you might want to check that out, or come join me in the online prenatal class for couples where we have a whole chapter on induction that I think you'll find super, super helpful. Okay, I'm here to tell you that when I finally gave in and let the experts do their job, my induction actually went very quick. And you're going to love this story. The nurse checked me right after they broke my water. I was still just like 6 centimeters. And I was sitting there and all of a sudden I felt like my hip was going to explode out. And I was thinking, Hillary, in all these years, I've never seen a baby come out somebody's hip, but I think it might be coming out of someone's hip today. And I told my husband, I said, I think I'm complete. You need to call the nurse. And he, even though he is the husband of the pregnancy nurse, was like, are you sure? She just checked you. And I was like, I am sure. Get that nurse in here. And by the time they got in, they were like, we just checked you. And I was like, guys, let's have this baby. And so quickly they got their gloves on. The baby was delivered very quickly. But I'm here to tell you that even when you are the pregnancy nurse or a labor nurse, they all knew I was a labor nurse, even though I did not deliver at the hospital I worked at. You still get those. Are you sure? It happens to all of us. I wish we listened to patients better. And yes, even my husband didn't believe me. So we're still working through that one in therapy. No, we're not. We're good. Now, I am here to tell you that inductions bring more choices. And a lot of times we're really not good at making choices at the point that we're at. I have a whole video that I'm going to do about making choices in labor. I'm going to put the link right here. If nothing is showing up though, hit that subscribe and notification bell so that you can be notified when that video pops up because it's coming soon. I'm so glad you guys were here to learn from my mistakes about an induction. Be sure and subscribe so we can hang out during your pregnancy here at The Pregnancy Nurse, where we get you prepared, not scared, for your upcoming hospital birth.